Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. I love watching him play. Jacksonville's going to be in the mix next year.
To the end zone, touchdown!
We haven't had a good quarterback in a long time.
Being a starting quarterback in this league is a big responsibility.
Is he operating the offense at a high level? Yes, he is right now.
What motivates you going into this year?
Just to really, I've always said to maximize as an individual my potential. You know, I always want to. That's always the goal, and it's you're never going to play perfect, but just to feel like you brought everything to the table and maximized it, and then as a team, you go as the quarterback goes. I mean, your quarterback has to play well for you to win consistently. But I know that we have a really talented team. We're well coached. So the sky's the limit for us, and we got to go out there and prove it. Doesn't matter what you say sitting here in August. It's going to matter what we did come into the season in January.
Good job, baby. Great job.
What's your identity, do you think? What will it be of this football team?
Just a hard-nosed team. You know, I think about offensively specifically. I think same goes for defensively too, but physical, high effort, play for the guy next to you. You know, running the ball obviously is a huge priority, and we've ingrained in that this whole offseason, starting in the spring, going through camp. That's a big part of our identity, and that's being a physical unit. We have a lot of talent. We have a lot of skill players that can make those big plays down the field. You know, I feel like I'm a guy that can get it to anyone at any time. You know, just got to find the right guy to get it to be a point guard out there.
This is fun, guys. I love football.
Where's Trevor at? Where's Trevor? Lead!
Oh, yeah. I got stronger.
I've never said the word juice so much in my broadcasting career, but it's really your word. I mean, you kind of asked for it coming out of last year. You said this place needed it. You feel like you got it.
I do. And you know, we haven't played a game yet, so the challenge is always, you're always going to have adversity in a season, but I do feel like the energy has been awesome. And it's been maintained throughout the spring, all the way through training camp. And training camp's tough, you get long days, and I feel like the energy that the staff has brought, starting with Liam and then just throughout the whole staff, has just been a bunch of really good energy. We've been coached hard, but it's also been positive. There's just been a lot of things a lot of coaching moments, but the spin they put on it and the positivity they bring and how they push you just to be your best. And there's never things that are overlooked. You know, everything's coached. I think that's awesome for our guys, and guys have learned how to get coached harder.
Trevor Lawrence thinks he has this dead to rights, and he just sits there. Bam, that's as easy as it gets.
You're in a position where people are going to criticize, you know, or praise, right?
Yeah.
How do you take some of it? How do you take people saying, whether it was study habits this offseason or first read guy or those kind of things that people have said about you?
I try not to let any of that get into my brain, just because I think that stuff is dangerous can consume your brain of what people think about you. And some of the stuff you hear regardless, because you get asked questions about it, and you know, it's just natural. You know, I've always been a guy, like I've prepared the right way, put in a lot of work in the off season. I've gotten myself ready. All that stuff, I don't take it too serious. I mean, but there is some growth. I've had some reflection of maybe how I've done things in the past. Not necessarily the amount of work I put in, but the way I do things. And I think this staff has really opened my eyes to some different ways of thinking. Not that old ways were all bad, but there is some different angles. I've looked at things and I've said, oh, I can get better in this area. That might not have even been something I've recognized but something they might point out, like, yeah, that could contribute to this happening or not making this read. And the offense is also asking a lot of different things of me than what I was asked to do in the past. It's just a different system. So there's also a lot of people that don't really know football that make a lot of comments. So that some of that stuff you can't take too seriously, because people have no idea what our offense is, what they're asking me to do, what the play call is, and people just think they do know all that stuff. So you can't take it too seriously.
There's no doubt that Trevor represents that one. Oh my, that'll be Al Shire, who's flagged for the big hit on the slide.
Is it fair to say the Houston game circled a little bit darker than other games, or is that so far in the rear view that it doesn't bother you?
I mean, there's definitely some things on my mind about this season, of some games I want to take advantage of playing in, and that's one of them. I mean, all the Division ones are always big. Don't really like any of those teams. So, I mean, every game is big, though. They're all important, but those Division ones are especially important, and I'll look forward to getting to play them early.
Great job.
What do you feel is going to be different this time? And do you feel it's going to be different this time?
Definitely. It's kind of hard to put your finger on all the time, but I think we talked about the energy, and that's a real thing that's important for a team. I think it's not just offensively, it's throughout the whole team. It's just that competitive nature, the belief in yourself and your team that you can do anything, that you can beat anyone on any day. I think that's something that hasn't been tested yet because we haven't played, but I do think there is that belief coming along more and more every day. We got to go prove it. So all this preseason talk is almost over, and we'll get a chance to go prove it and get better every week. And that's all you can ask for. And we'll look up at the end of the year and see where we're at.
Everybody wants to run the ball. You guys have tried to run the ball, sometimes successful, sometimes not. Why is this scheme, Liam, good at it? Why will it be different?
There's a lot of variety. I think about just the amount of runs we have. We have a lot of things that we can get to that we've worked throughout the starting in spring all the way through camp. I mean, we have a lot of different things that we've done. So we have a lot of exposure to, if we need to run this type of run versus this defense, this front, we can get to it. And it's something that's not brand new. We're not trying to add stuff that we haven't done before. So I think that's helped us. That's set us up for the season of all the things that we might need. And then just the level of detail. Starting obviously with the guys up front, myself, the running backs, the tracks they're hitting, where the combinations are going, but also on the perimeter. I think the amount of detail and how our receivers are pushed to go block and really get that extra block, get that extra shove, putting their nose in there. That's emphasized so much in this offense, and I think that is where you see these runs turn from 2, 3, 4, 5 yards into explosives, 12 yards, touchdowns, whatever it may be, because you spring it on the second, third level. So that's huge in the run game.
How this looks complicated to learn. You have to learn it all. Some other guys just have to learn a little piece.
Yeah.
How did you learn it? Like, is Marissa quizzing you in the summer?
Yeah,
how did you learn this thing?
A little bit. Now having the baby, I kind of take a little bit more of that on my own. As far as like in the past, with my other offenses, she'd read a bunch of whether it's a script or different formations or plays, and then I'd just draw them up on the whiteboard. We still did some of that. She still helped me with some of that, but when she couldn't, just recording, like do some of the voice recordings of different plays, concepts, formations, all those things, so I can hear it and then draw it. Because that's how the game's played, is you hear it in the headset and you got to go do it. It's not just reading a piece of paper. So that's something that I've always done. I've always had a whiteboard, especially for learning offenses, and just drawing everything up, seeing it all, knowing where everyone's going to end up. And it's little by little. At first it's overwhelming, but then you look up at the end of spring and I'm like, man, I feel really good about where I'm at, and I understand what we're doing, and I know obviously the formations, the motions, the plays. You got to know all that stuff. But still, it's a lot of stuff to get in, and we were able to get it in early and get me more and more comfortable with it. So by the time we got to camp, it wasn't like starting fresh. You're really able to master some of the little things.
Doesn't sound like he wants you with a wristband. Are you going to wear a wristband? Are you cool without the wristband? That'd be a first time, right?
First time without it. I haven't worn it in the past. Usually I've even worn it in practice and training camp, for the long plays. And that's not the plan right now. The plan's to not wear it. So there might be some situations that come out throughout the year, depending on where you're at, playing on the road, loud. You might have to put some long calls on there just to move quickly in and out of the huddle when it's really loud. But I've actually kind of embraced that change of not having it, because it really pushes you to master it even more, to know the game plan. And we haven't had a game plan necessarily yet, but once we do, what the calls are. They're all in. You've studied them all week. So when he starts calling a play, you already know what's coming. So it's not like you're just having to look down and read something that you've never heard before. So there's prep that goes into that, an extra preparation, honestly, when you don't have a wristband. But I think it helps you play even faster when you get out there.
We've had so many conversations with your teammates. They don't necessarily say they see a different Trevor, but it's kind of like a lighter Trevor, a looser Trevor. I don't know if you're funnier now as being a dad. I'm not sure what it is.
Some dad jokes, some dad humor. I don't know.
But are you more comfortable than ever? Are you relaxed? Like, why would that be? Why do you think they view you like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I've always tried to be myself and the same guy. I think obviously the way last year went was challenging. Not saying to be myself, but just the way the season went, we didn't have a good year. I was hurt, wasn't here the back half of the year. So it's kind of in and out, so I wasn't around as much. So I think maybe there's some carryover from that of not being able to be on the field every day and have that presence and that voice, and miss being out there with the guys. So I think just the gratitude of being back is a real thing, and you're just happy to be healthy and to be back doing what you love. Like, that's something that does make me happy, is being out here. So there's that part of it, and then we have a bunch of new pieces and new leaders on the team that we brought in who have had a lot of success other places, and I think have really elevated our locker room and have brought a ton of value, not just on the field but in there. And I think just those relationships building and feeling like we have a bunch of really great leadership throughout the locker room, and I think just new energy in the building too. Like, all those things play a part in it, but definitely keep that going. You know, that's something that guys can feed off of, and obviously you want to be that source of energy, and you want guys to see you here, you know, loving what you do and putting everything into it.
Dad life. I mean, it's your first real season as a dad. How's it going? How's the balance of that? And what's it like?
It's been great. Obviously, just having Shay, I mean, just the perspective change I've talked a little bit about is it's cool coming home and getting to be dad, and, you know, realizing that, yes, what we do is super important, and put everything into it when I'm here, do all the preparation I need to do. But then when I get to go home, I have this baby girl that doesn't know anything about football, doesn't care about any of that. I just get to go home and be dad. Like, that's pretty cool experience, honestly, from my shoes.